Welcome everyone to my channel. If you haven't been here before, please sit down. We are going to talk about the short second life of Bree Tanner, an Eclipse novella by Stephanie Meyer. So, Bree Tanner can barely remember life before she had uncannily powerful senses, superhuman reflexes, and unstoppable physical strength. Life before she had a relentless thirst for blood. Life before she became a vampire. All Bree knows is that living with her fellow newborns has few certainties and even fewer rules. Watch your back, don't draw attention to yourself, and above all, make it home by sunrise or die. What she doesn't know, her time as an immortal is quickly running out. Then Bree finds an unexpected friend in Diego. My ear itches. A newborn just as curious as Bree about the mysterious creator whom they don't know only as her. As they come to realize that the newborns are pawns in a game larger than anything they could have imagined, Bree and Diego must choose sides and decide whom to trust. But when everything you know about vampires is based on a lie, how do you find the truth? So, you're introduced to Bree Tanner. She's a vampire, a runaway. She doesn't remember how she was created besides the fact that she was brought in by a burger. And that she was told as a vampire that if you're outside by sunrise, you will die. You'll burn into flames and everything like that. Which is, of course, a lie. You sparkle. But she doesn't know that. So, one night, she goes out hunting with a group of vampires. Two of which she didn't like, and one of which that she was okay with. Wary, but okay. The two that she didn't like caused a scene, started piling up cars and sucking the blood out of the humans. And so she and Diego took off and she followed. And they drank blood together, talked and everything. And then were caught out when the sun was rising. But when they went to go back to their hideout, it was destroyed. So they had to find another hideout. Diego's like, I know this cave. Let's go to this cave. So they go to this cave. It's underground. It's water. And they're inside of it. And they, they're talking. And Diego's like, I was outside in the sun once. In the shade. And it didn't hurt me. And then like, the guy who made them, I think his name is Kevin, sat there and told me that there's a certain time, a certain day that happens in a year that will allow you to be outside without it killing you. And that was my day. And tells Bree about it. And he's like, but I want to know more. So Diego opens up a hole and they're standing underneath the sun and they're sparkling and they're like, oh my god, we don't burst into flames. Maybe this is the one day of the year. We need to go and tell everybody about this. And when they finally get back at night to the new place, things kick into motion. The guy that protects them and everything like that and tells them everything. I really do think his name is Kevin. Riley, sorry, that's his name. So there in comes in with news that these Colons are coming back to Seattle for their territory and that they're going to have to fight this coven and that the coven have yellow eyes instead of red and that they're have gifts, and that's why they were looking for people with gifts, like Fred, who has the ability to make people not want to be near him. And they're talking about how they're going to have this fight, and that was one day a year is coming up, and that they need to prepare for it. Then he leaves to go check in with her, which we all know is Victoria. And Diego and Bree follow. They listen in on the conversation. They figure some things out and they realize that maybe Riley doesn't know that Victoria is using them. So they decide that they're going to tell. But Diego says, I'll do it myself. Well, Diego goes missing. And she, who sits there and gets close to Fred, who can dispel everybody, uses him as like a shield and her own way to keep herself safe from other vampires killing her. The other newborn vampires killing her. Of course, they also find out that, that they're being hunted by another group. And they're like, oh no, nobody else knows about this. But as they're leaving to go hunting, Fred and Bree talk about it all, and she confesses to everything. And he's like, well, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. If the sun doesn't hurt us, I'm going. I'm gone. You should come with me. And she's like, well, I have to get Diego. I don't want to leave without him. We're part of this club now, because we made a club together. And so he's like, okay, you do that. I will wait here for 24 hours, and then I'm gone, and you're never going to find me again. And she's like, okay. So while they're all going to fight the Collins on Victoria's word, she goes to Riley, talks to Riley about Diego, wanting to know where he is, and he's like, he's down there in the battle, and she's gone to go find him. That's when she realized that Riley lied, as he was going the opposite way. He was actually going to go report to Victoria. And then Riley dies, everybody else is dying, and she's running away from the Collins, and she gets captured, and she says, spare me. That's when Shane and others from the Volturi come along and witness that they didn't really need to be there. All of newborn vampires are dead. And she's like, oh, you did our job for us. We're not used to that. Except for her. It's like, oh, well, we'll take responsibility for we'll teach her the world. And she's like, nope. She's got to go. And so Jane orders Bree's death. Bree dies. Should have just gone with Fred. And lived. And Fred never actually comes back. But we do learn that Bree had figured out there's a mind reader, and she told the mind reader about Fred and to take care of Fred if you ever meet Fred. Which, of course, you would never actually meet Fred in any of the rest of the books. Maybe if she writes the second half of the Twilight series from Edward's point of view, maybe we will find Fred. You never know. But he doesn't show up in Bella's point of view. Ever. Which is sad, because I kind of liked Fred. He's very good at protecting himself with his power. You know? So, my favorite character in this, I'd have to say, be Fred. Because he was laid back, he was chill, and he could control his thirst. He could also control who got near him and who didn't. My most disliked character, Victoria. Because she manipulated Riley. Well, she didn't manipulate Riley. Riley knew everything. But she manipulated everything that Riley said to the newborns. To all of them. Made them lie about everything. And made them all die. Knowing that they couldn't beat the Collins. But she was trying to build an army to overwhelm the Collins. To be able to injure them enough to where she could get in on it. And do what she wanted to do. Which was basically kill Bella. What stood out as memorable? That Bree did question things. That she did find things strange. But she didn't have the courage to step up. She let other people do it for her. And it cost her, well, her life, obviously. So, she wasn't a brainless idiot. And she was sort of curious, but she was also very much a coward in certain aspects. I don't have a favorite passage, and I don't have a favorite quote within this. Or at least I don't believe I do. Oh, when she talks about Fred, if you meet Fred, then be nice to him, please. So, yeah, like, that, I guess, will be my favorite quote. Because, like, she cares. She's always thinking about others more than about herself in the end. And that's nice. What about the ending of the book? I hate that Bree died. But I like how it does, in the end, intermingle with the end of the eclipse. It does give you some showing of that. But not everything. So, no, it doesn't give you every detail of what happened, but it does give you some, so you do know some things that happened at the end of Eclipse. So you can read this after Eclipse or before Eclipse. It doesn't really matter which side you read it on, because if you read it before Eclipse, like I did, I've already read Eclipse, and this came out after Eclipse, so I read it after Eclipse, always after Eclipse. But reading it like after New Moon, it doesn't really spoil you too much. Because Bree didn't know Victoria was the one who was making them. She just knew it was a woman. And that was basically it, and that they wanted her to go, they gave her the scent of Bella, and that they wanted her to destroy the Coens. That was the gist of what she knew. And she didn't know much else, so it doesn't really show you much else of what happens in Eclipse. You don't really get a lot, because this happens during Eclipse. So if you read this before, you don't really get a lot of information about what goes on in Eclipse, and if you read it after, you get, oh, that's who she was, type of deal thing, you know? What book did it remind me of? No book. I don't even know why I have that on there, because, like, I don't really have a lot of books that remind me of books type of deal situation in this, because a lot of books are different with their plots, but they're also kind of the same type of plots. So it's kind of hard to figure that one out, right? This book, as you know, is part of a series. It's part of the Twilight series. There's actually another one that I don't have, but it's like a flop of Edward and Bella. Edward being the human and Bella being the vampire, but of course their names are different too. And it's just, I read it once, I think, and I didn't really like it all that much. So there's 4 books in the main series, and then there's Midnight Sun, which is a rewrite of Twilight and New Moon in Edward's point of view, and it's a lot bigger and a lot more interesting to read. I gotta say, I really wish you would have wrote it in Edward's point of view from the very beginning, because I think that would have made it more interesting in my book. I forgot what I rated this as. 3.75 stars is what I rated this as. Because I don't really like short novellas. I don't really read novellas. If you've been on this channel before, you know I don't read a lot of novellas. So, you know, novella. That's why it's docked. Interesting story, but novella. That's my whole reasoning for it. So, if you guys think I deserve a like, comment, or a lovely subscription, why don't you go ahead and drop it down below. See you next illusion.